What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the final pregame stream of the preseason. It's going to be the last one before the regular season, week 1 on Monday night. If anybody's new to the stream, or if this is the first time coming, or it's not the first time, but maybe you joined late last time, how this works. We stream for 1 hour before the game starts. We will stop streaming. We will start streaming. Try and go as quickly as possible after the game ends. It's usually within 10 minutes. We get it up and started, and then we analyze anything that you ask us to analyze. So this whole thing is to answer any questions you have rather than us trying to do a preseason kind of guess without, having the questions. So we figure the questions is the best way to do it. I see, Abdi Hassan's already here. How you doing, Abdi? The season's here, and it's going to be very exciting. I'm excited for tonight's game. This is probably the game that I most wanted to watch, and I'm very happy that it seems like it's going to be the game where we actually play our starters. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. We get to see all those players go out there and really ball out. And Washington has a lot of players that I really like that I scouted. So how you doing, Luis? What's going on, Exley? How you doing? Before we kind of get into anything, Joshua, anything on your mind that you want to bring up before, more people show up?
It's the Battle of the 95. Yeah, it's a preseason game, but, Washington, Lando. The field is still in Maryland, out there in Landover. It's just up the street. Maybe about an hour, 32 hours on a good day away. But still, it's still Saturday. It's football. It's football season. Love to have it. College football done started today too. The high school boys out there playing. St. Thomas Aquinas. They've been laying it thick on my boys from St. Francis. But I know they're going to bounce back next week. But back to the regular scheduled program of the Ravens, man. Let's go ahead and get this dub, man. Let's go make this road to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. And Abdi asks, is Lamar playing today? I fully expect Lamar to play. From what I've read, I believe it was from Jeff Zrebiec. He said that the Ravens only have, I want to say, 78 or 75 players on the roster right now after the trades. And a lot of them are injured. So they only have about 60 active players that can play today. So I would expect Lamar to play. That was my whole thing before the preseason started. I said I expect him to play in one game. And it looks like that's what a lot of teams are doing is they are playing the starters. Josh Allen, I think, played the first half in Buffalo's game. He lit it up. Shout out to Josh Allen. He really balled out earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, but
it was today. It was 250. Was it 252? 2 touchdowns today?
Yeah. So, that's when a lot of players are starting. So I expect Lamar to go out there, and I expect him to play a little bit. But what's going on, Don C? How you doing? We got Luis talking fantasy right here. So just want to say it. I wouldn't draft Lamar in fantasy. Sorry. I'm not a big early quarterback draft guy. I wait on the quarterbacks. I think you can get Kyler for better value than you can get Lamar for fantasy wise, and go out there and get a dominant tight end in the third, fourth round that Lamar's typically getting drafted in. But I know some people like to go out there. And I see Mike D. Fran ask, in your opinion, who would be the best Raven to lead an army against alien invaders? You need a Raven to lead an army? Ray Lewis. There is no better guy to get anybody to go out there and fight some aliens. These aliens could have hyper beams, and Ray Lewis would have people just jumping into them, just to see what's going on.
Come on now. Y'all know.
Don C knows what's up. Don't forget to smash that like on the way in, everyone. Luis says Kyler went before Lamar in my draft. Where did Lamar go? You panicked and drafted Josh Allen? Josh Allen is better than both of them for fantasy, most likely. Josh Allen is probably the best value, high-end quarterback for fantasy football. If you got him after Kyler and Lamar went, you're chilling. That's not fine. Josh Allen led fantasy football last year in total points. So, overall, Mike changes it. He says current Raven. Current Raven. I don't know. Current Raven.
It might be Marlo for me.
Marlo. I feel like Marlo would be pretty solid. I feel like Calais could go out there and do a good job.
Yeah.
What about who would you not want?
Oh my gosh, Who would I not want? Jalen Ferguson, Slack Daddy.
I wouldn't want Justin Tucker. I feel like he would not be getting
Justin Tucker.
everybody goody.
Justin Tucker he reminds me of one of those Athenian or Roman leaders from 300. He will sing you a song and get you right. So I feel like he'll lead you. He'll lead you. You know.
That's fair. He could go out there. He'd be the battle cry, just oh,
You know. I'll take JT. I would take giving everybody some hits.
It would be like Mad Max. He'd be the guy on the front of the truck, just singing while Marlon's driving it in the back.
Did you hear it? I don't know if anybody heard they are remastering like I think the first 3 GTAs. So
I thought you were gonna say Mad Maxes, and I was like, oh yeah.
When it comes to GTA, I love San Andreas. You know, CJ, the whole story. I love that. Big Mike, all of them, man.
Oh man. This one, if the league has 6-point touchdowns, I'm taking Lamar early. If it's 6-point passing touchdowns, I would extra take Josh Allen if it's 6-point passing touchdown. That dude scores touchdowns. Like that's like fantasy wise, I would take Allen. Both of them they're probably the top 2 quarterbacks in fantasy to go after are those guys and Mahomes. So like that's what I think. But I see Luis says Chuck Clark should lead us. Chuck Clark wouldn't be that bad. Shamil's putting in some bad energy, man. Looking for Patrick and McDiamond already.
Already? I like that.
Already? Current Raven, Calais or McPhee. McPhee's interesting. I like Calais though. I love listening to Calais talk. He's a very intimidating person when he talks. His voice, very deep. I mean, at 6'8",
yeah,
you gotta have the deep voice. But
if anybody watched Gladiator with Russell Crowe, he reminds me of one of those gladiators that was that fought with Russell Crowe. Yeah. Just like it's like in those movies, it's always the biggest guy that's going to be like the general that gets everybody going. So Calais is that guy. He's the biggest one in the room. He's going to be one of the strongest guys in the room. The one with the deepest voices in the room. So you know what? Everybody's going to follow him. You know.
Yeah. Shamil, the question was, which Raven would you want to lead? And have everyone lead against an alien invasion? Who's the leader? But Julian asked a good question. Which position should we be watching tonight, fellas, for roster spot purposes? First one, the biggest one, I think, is the safety spot. Look at our Darius, Brandon Stevens, and Geno Stone. That would be the biggest one. I think that running back spot, looking at Tyson Williams versus Nate McCrary, can either one of them nudge out Justice Hill or potentially make way for a 4 running back room? We can see there. I don't know wide receiver I think is important. However, it's not for roster spot purposes but for depth chart order. I feel like that's something that like is important that we're not really talking about a lot. Is like the play of Duvernay, Tylen, Prochet, all those guys. Like they're not fighting for a roster spot, but they're fighting to see who's actually going to play this year. And that's something that we really need to look at.
That's true.
Like but I don't know. There's definitely other spots. Can you think of anybody, Joshua, that's
I definitely say my defensive line first and always, just to see how that rotation may look as far as those ends, how we get those pass rushes going. I always love to see my offensive linemen, see how their handwork is, as far as the pass pro, and how they move the defensive linemen in the rush. Of course, we're going back to our running backs. We got to see how they move as far as Williams and McCrary, because both of them are making a strong push. And honestly, if you can't keep one, I will see if we can make a trade to the Rams, because the Rams are in the need of a running back. Definitely wide receiver, just to see who would be in the rotation, but also I would say corners too, because yes, we get. I wouldn't say gave away. We definitely got we got a valuable trade asset for Sean Wade, but also we do need to figure out who's going to be that that third man behind like MP or Marlowe, because if Tayon Young can play a healthy 17-game season, then the question is, will Marlowe go back on the outside and will MP go to the number 2 wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, I just saw a tweet from Jeff Zrebiec. He says, I think Chris Westry would have to play his way off the team tonight. He's in a good spot. Same goes for Geno Stone,
Okay.
which is something interesting to look at. I don't think Geno Stone is as much of a lock as a lot of people are saying. I think he's the third guy behind Ardarius and Brandon Stevens. I think that they are ahead of him a little bit. However, there's a good chance if he plays really well, one of them really struggles, there's a chance he ends up sliding into that roster spot. But here's a great question from Julian. Do you think Broderick Washington's a lock for the roster with his play? I think so far he is. I think so far he's been balling.
Y'all know I'm a Broderick Washington fan. No, but seriously though, between Justin Matabuke and Broderick Washington, those are both my guys. If Calais and Brandon Williams were to retire today, I honestly am fine with those two guys leading my interior line. I definitely feel like, with him coming back and even with him playing, showing that he's gotten his act together from his offseason incident, I definitely feel like he's a lock. But something we have not talked about is inside linebacker depth. Yes, we know PQ and Malik Harrison is about time. It's about time for that show. But with losing LJ Fort for the season, who now steps up? In my opinion, I think Adam Levine is that weak side inside linebacker that might deserve some play time. And Geno and to speak about Geno Stone, only reason Geno Stone may have a lock on the 53-man roster is because he was being groomed by Adam Levine on special teams.
Yeah, I mean, I before people get mad, you were saying Adam Levine, not the singer, Anthony Levine.
Oh, my bad. I knew what I was talking about.
I knew who you were talking about. Sometimes people get mad though. But I think that, looking at that spot, there's a chance that the Ravens don't keep a ton of depth, and they do keep Geno Stone in the sense that they start seeing Chuck Clark. It's like, oh, wow, we really don't have an inside linebacker. They really go box safety with Chuck Clark in some situations. And then they're able to throw out, they have that extra depth and things out there that they're able to throw out. So Geno Stone and Ardarius could both make the team alongside Brandon Stevens. But, there are some guys that we have on the roster. Chris Board, not a massive fan of Chris Board. I think he's a meh player, in my opinion. It's not terrible. He's never going to do anything amazing, never going to do anything really that bad. He's kind of a poor man's LJ Fort. But someone that I kind of like is Christian Welch, who the Ravens brought in last year out of Iowa. He was undrafted, but I liked him. I felt like he did decent. He could play on special teams or something like that. I feel like he's got a little bit more potential. He's a bit younger than Board, so maybe he could get an opportunity. But he was on the practice squad. I think got brought up late last season and played in a couple of games, very minimally. It may have only been special teams that he played, but he got a couple of tackles. But, it wasn't too bad. I see Shamil says, Broderick Washington has to make the team. He might wreak havoc if he doesn't.
He might just, man. You never know. He might just. But he definitely, I say, he definitely been flying around the ball, man. The crazy thing about it, he caused a lot of disruption. When I last week, I think it was between him and PQ and even Odafe, a lot. You saw 90. I want to say Broderick Washington's number is 96. I could be wrong. But you saw him in the backfield a lot. I mean, yes, of course, it's against second and third team. But even, when he did get in the game regular season last year, he did show that, he belongs in the NFL and that he can play with some of the best guys.
Yeah. And I just got a notification from Jeff Zrebiec. He says players that don't expect to play: McSorley, Justice Hill, Marquise Brown, Miles Boykin, Sammy Watkins, Bateman, Boyle, James, Alaka, Jimmy Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Derek Wolfe, Crawford. Could be more that don't play, but didn't list Lamar or anything like that. In terms of when they announced the 53-man roster, I can look it up right now.
Every time they say
typically it's like 3 days before the season starts is typically when it is. Let's see here. I hate how the NFL just doesn't have a very good schedule for people to.
Of course not. Come on now.
Like, come on. Where's the communication, NFL? Um,
The best schedule out there right now is the recruiting schedule. Is went back to normal.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's typically. Oh, the NFL's finer. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I gotta. Oh no, I better not have to read this entire article.
Mm.
Let's see here. Oh wait, I found it. Stop giving me ads. Stupid NBC Sports Washington website. The NFL's final roster cut deadline will be on August 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So it's in a few days.
Whew.
So good thing to know that.
I know we talked about being in the war room and being part of the draft and everything and scouting and stuff like that, but I think that honestly being a part of that room, I think this is the second hardest part of being part of that room is, shrinking that 80, 90 man roster to 53. It's a lot of good guys, a lot of guys that played a lot of ball and showed that they're capable of playing at this level. But unfortunately, you want to go with, that man that you really feel like that can get your team to that next level. And the next level is that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the move that the Ravens just made. Trading Sean Wade, that is a difficult decision to do. To trade for a guy to like him. The Ravens were not like, oh, Sean Wade hasn't been playing well. The Ravens were very high on Sean Wade. Absolutely. They really liked him, but they were like, we have too much depth. We can't keep somebody. And that's very difficult to really like someone in the draft. They felt like they got a steal in the 5th round, and they were feeling really good. He played very well in the preseason.
Yeah.
And they were like, we got to get rid of him. But I see Shamil says, I heavily disagree with this, and then we'll get into something else. But he says, Ardarius Washington needs to change that number. 47 looks disgusting. I love the number 47 on Ardarius Washington. I'm a big fan of it. I think I don't like a lot of numbers that players choose. I don't like pretty much any of the Ravens receiver numbers. I'm not a big fan of the teens for receivers.
Really?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I love the single digit numbers. I love the like.
It's growing on me. It's definitely growing on me. I'm not even going to front.
Okay. I will say if there's like a couple people, but I hate how every Ravens receiver is just like number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then McCrary's 18. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah. With him having 18 does throw you off, especially as a running back. I feel like, as a running back, anything from 1 to 10 and 25 to maybe 45 is decent for a running back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I don't know. What do you think about 47? What do you think? Are you pro 47 on Ardarius Washington?
I'm not pro 47 on any corner or safety, honestly. But the way Ardarius plays, he makes it. I can live with like a 33 on him, or maybe even a 30. But 47, it seems so close to maybe a linebacker number.
I just looked up greatest players to ever wear the number 47 jersey because I'm kind of curious.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Are any of them in the Hall of Fame? I don't think. Oh, Mel Blount and John Lynch. Oh, Hall of Fame safety, Hall of Fame cornerback. Oh, get it.
Okay, I can live with that.
And then there's some guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame. I'll go through them, see if I see any guys that are big that I can bring up. Chris Cooley, Will Demps. There's a lot of guys I'm skipping over.
I'm saying
Ravens legend Pico Alonso. That's pretty much it. Chris Conti.
Oh man, okay.
But like 47 is an interesting number. Like, I like when people choose unique numbers. Like, I'm sorry, I don't love when people come out and they're like, I'm a quarterback, I'm number 12. And it's like, oh, really? Like every great quarterback ever, number 12. Like, I'm pretty sure that's Bradshaw, Brady, Rodgers, Luck.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that I didn't name. Too many 12s. 47 is unique. I like it.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's all about you at the end of the day making that number stick in people's heads. And honestly, he's been making that number work for himself. He's been letting his play talk.
Yeah, like how many people loved 44 when Marlon switched? I used to think 29 looked so. I was never a big fan of 29. I'm not a big fan of anybody wearing 29. I don't know why. I just think it's a clunky number. 44 I kind of liked for Marlon just because he was so physical. But like, I don't know. I like the unique numbers where it's like, oh, that's different. Like you're
it's like you have to be, like you said, you had to be unique. And what did he do? They in the NFL what they call him fruit punch. He created that. So
Yeah.
he's made 44 work for him. I feel like when you wear numbers like that, or you wear like 00 stuff, numbers like that, you have to be like an enforcer type of dude.
Yeah.
When
when you wear you're in the 30s to 50s, you gotta lay down some wood. You gotta be strong. You gotta be a bully. And 42 is taken. That's Pat Ricard. I expect him to make the team. One number I don't like, 38. Ben Mason, number 38. That's no.
It's okay for a fullback. It's okay for a fullback.
I don't even know if it's okay for. I don't think any player should ever be forced to wear number 38. I think that's one of the worst numbers.
I think like 35 or 36, but I don't see 36 on him because he's not going to be the next bust. Now, if Patrick Ricard had 36, I like that.
Let's see. I don't know if there's two Hall of Famers to wear 38. Arnie Herber and Cal Hubbard. Props to anybody if they know who either of those players are. I bet they played in 1905.
Probably earlier than that, man.
These guys, those don't have 38.
The days when they had the leather strap helmets.
Let's see here. Cal Hubbard. Let's see here. Wow, they have a full podcast on him. Shout out to this group. I don't even know. I guess he played in the 80s.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really know. I can't tell. What was his name? Cal Hubbard.
Why does he sound like he used to be a dominant player in college?
Oh, he was born in 1900.
Okay.
So that goes to tell you about that. Imagine if Chuck wore 3. Well, 3 was taken by LJ Ford. I guess now we could technically go after it, but
Chuck don't deserve a single digit in my opinion. He has to play immaculate football as a safety this year.
Don C, I'm going to disagree with you. I got to go Tim Williams. Tim Williams. I had so much hype for Tim Williams.
Bro, they're in the same shit basket. Sergio Kendall, I definitely had high hopes for Sergio Kendall.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But does anybody have any other questions? We've just been kind of ranting on numbers.
Cody Upshaw made 91 official.
91's solid. 91's a good number.
Courtney was smacking with 91.
I feel like they need to implement a 0. Someone needs to be able to be 0. I wanted Bateman to be 0 in the NFL. That would have been sick.
It would be sick if it would. I would say change his number as he proved himself, but right now because he's hurt, he good where he at.
I don't know.
That's zero. Having a 0 on your back, that give me Gilbert Arenas vibes.
No chill, Gil. Watch out. They may bring some weapons into the locker room.
Listen, I live with it.
All right, we got an actual question from Captain Gamer. What have you seen on Dalen Hayes? Dalen Hayes has been a monster. Dalen Hayes has probably been one of the best pass rushers the Ravens have had. He bends very well. He actually has very solid technique. He does the job. He really surprised me. I wasn't expecting him to be as dominant an edge rusher as he has been, and he's been top tier. He's been very, very good. I was wondering whether or not he would be able to make the roster if the Ravens brought in Justin Houston. And now that they've done that, I'm like, oh no, this guy's 1,000% a roster spot. He will probably get some good snaps in the NFL this season.
You know who he remind me of? His comp player could possibly be, I know it's too soon, y'all, don't kill me, but I think he can be a Robin Mathis type of guy for the simple fact of how he swims and his depth and how he gets around the tackles. I'm not saying Dwight Freeney had his own technique with the spin, but Robin Mathis was a true technician with his dip and swim move, and he used that to effectively and got to the quarterback a lot. Y'all know that. Come on now. And I mean, Dalen Hayes has definitely been showing that he can get, to the quarterback and at least, create some havoc and get the quarterback off his feet.
Absolutely. I think that's an interesting comparison. I would love it. I don't think any Ravens fan would be disappointed. What's going on, Nana? How you doing? I see YPC says, I want a way to step up this game. Should get 2 sacks. No, don't. We
Why?
can't put expectations like that
Just
on
let the
him
boy
because
play. Just let the boy play.
like he's played well. Like that's the issue is even though he hasn't gotten a sack, he's disrupted and created chaos. That is what his role was at Penn State. That is what he's doing with the Ravens. That's what Wink Martindale loves. Create chaos and get tackles in the backfield. And that's what he's done. He stopped the run, he sets the edge, and he gets into the backfield. He hasn't gotten that sack, but he's gotten in the backfield a couple of times and gotten other people's sacks and really done his job. So I don't think setting him up to be like some crazy sack guy is very good. And I see, Brad Johnson says Joe Tryon got 3 sacks in 3 games. Yeah, he's playing for the Buccaneers. And that's what, the Buccaneers, they don't blitz a ton. The Ravens blitz so much that it's difficult for one player to just dominate in the sack game because there's just so much going on. A lot of times when the Ravens get sacks, it's a blitz and someone's just completely free. It's Patrick Queen coming in wide open. It's Malik Harrison coming in wide open. It's Marlon coming in wide open. That's the tough part. And Miami TM, the Ravens play at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So in about 30 minutes. And we will not be streaming during the game. We'll stream after. Chris Griffith asks, what do you guys think about Minshew to the Eagles?
We just talked about it.
We talked about it off cam. We didn't talk about it on cam.
I think it's BS, man. I'll tell you what I said to McConnell. Gardner Minshew has the attitude of Trent Dilfer and the talent of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He can come on any man. He can come on anybody's team and get you some wins. Now, I'm not about to say he's a Super Bowl type style of quarterback, but he can get you some wins. I mean, honestly, I heard Joe Flacco's been playing good enough that he could possibly start. I don't see why they're bringing Gardner into to be the third man, but I don't really agree with it. But they did get some trade value out of it though.
So one of the things that I read the Eagles scouting report on Gardner Minshew was that he's a perfect backup quarterback. That was their scouting report. That's what they wrote on him. Like they are very high on him, and he is a Ryan Fitzpatrick style backup quarterback. Like he will go in there. He will not he's not going to go in there and be like cautious and go out like similar to like Trace McSorley as a backup. He would come in for the Ravens and he'd be like, okay, let's be, let's not turn the ball over. Gardner Minshew, if Jalen Hurts gets injured and, they're like, oh no, we're in a tie game. We need to make the playoffs. Gardner Minshew's going to go out there and he's either going to win you that game or he's going to lose you that game.
Yeah.
And that's what I like in a backup quarterback. Unfortunately, Joe Flacco is not that guy. Joe Flacco is, we have to play the entire season with a backup. Like, yeah, sure. We don't really need somebody to try and go all out to really win us a lot of games. Joe Flacco can play. But if you're like, we're kind of contending, our guy just got hurt, he's not going to be injured that long. You throw Gardner out there, similar to, honestly, what Hurts did at Alabama when Tua Tagovailoa struggled against the University of Georgia. And he was like, hold on, Tua, I got you. But, that's the thing. I love the trade. I think it's a really smart trade for the Eagles. I think it's probably a smart trade for the Jaguars because if Trevor Lawrence struggles, there would be play Gardner chance because Jacksonville loves Gardner Minshew.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to put that type of pressure on, your rookie quarterback number 1 overall pick because Trevor Lawrence, okay, the amount of hype Trevor Lawrence gets, I don't think people understand the player that Trevor Lawrence is. This dude throws picks, okay? This is a guy, if I had to compare him to the most similar player in recent drafts, it's Jameis Winston in the fact that he has very good arm talent, but this dude will go out there and he will just sling it. Like he's a gunslinger and he throws a lot of picks. And when you're playing in Jacksonville and you're the number 1 overall pick and you're hyped up as like, he's one of the greatest quarterback prospects of all time. And he's going to go out there and he's going to have multiple heavy interception games.
So let me ask you this now. Because Travis then got hurt, how much does this hurt his growth as a quarterback?
I don't think it hurts that much. James James Robinson is a beast.
Okay,
He's a very solid running back. He was a top 10 running back in the NFL last year, arguably. So I don't think that's
because Trevor reminds me of Dak. If Dak doesn't have a running game, if he doesn't have Zeke, then you're trying to depend on all of Dak to throw, a 350-yard game with 4 touchdowns. And sometimes it's going to be 4 touchdowns with 4 interceptions.
Yeah. Like, that's what he'll do. And, like, he'll win games and stuff like that, but he was playing at Clemson. Like, I still think Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback. I think he'll be great in this league. But taking away that thing, like, because if you have a backup quarterback that your team loves and you got benched for the number 1 overall pick, but all of a sudden your number 1 overall pick is kind of struggling, and Gardner Minshew just brings flair. He brings attitude. He brings excitement.
Jacksonville is like that little city that's big on high school football. And Gardner Minshew grew up in that city. That's how they treat Gardner, as if he grew up in that city. They watched him play Pop Warner. Now he's in high school. Now he's in NFL. Gardner. Honestly, I like the Minshew train. I love what he brings I love what he can bring to a team.
I bought my Gardner Minshew jersey after he played 1 game in the NFL. 1 game he played, and I was like, I love this man. I'm buying his jersey. I just absolutely love it. Benjamin says, wish we got Minshew. I would love to. I
wouldn't mind having Minshew either. I honestly, I wouldn't. As a backup, I wouldn't.
I see. Okay, we'll go to Benjamin here. He says, do you think McCrary will outdo Tyson Williams this game? As always, yes. Nate McCrary is the best.
I love McCrary.
Don't disrespect the Saginaw Valley State prospect, Joshua. What are you doing to me?
It's something about Williams. He just has that flair. He plays with an attitude. He reminds you of who on our team already? Gus the Bus. So I feel like, honestly, he may just outplay him knowing that this is the last game. He just plays. He got dog. You got to realize who got dog and who's hungry. Yes, McCurry came from Saginaw State. McCurry is smooth, but Williams, he got some dog in him.
That's true. And I see a notification from Jeff Zrebick. In warm-ups, Lamar Jackson is taking the first-team quarterback reps, and Ronnie Stanley is lining up at the starting left tackle. Ben Powers is the starting left guard. So
where's Big Sexy?
Come on, Ravens. Where's Big Sexy at? Come on, you gotta put him in. That's what we need to see. We need to see him just get to the second level. I see Dauncey has a really good question right here. Says, McConnett and Joshua, do you think the college players being able to profit off of their name will keep them in college longer? What effect, if any, will the NFL feel? This is a great question. I do not think it will keep them in college longer because I don't expect them to be making like that much money. Like because the amount of money that they'll make is based on how good they are.
Bryce Young, what's his name? Yeah, Bryce Young from Alabama. He got $1 million contract. Well, not $1 million contract, $1 million deal. Who else? Whose name is Kool-Aid? I forgot what school he is, but
he goes to Alabama. I'm pretty sure he goes to Alabama. He's like a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's the one. He's trying to deal with Kool-Aid. I think for $500,000.
Yeah, but like one of those things is, so if you think about it, I think it's interesting to analyze because it's at least like once they get to school, if they're like that good, like for example, if Trevor Lawrence was coming out of high school, everybody knew this guy was top tier prospect and such. He would be able to at least have that, because one of the reasons why people go to the NFL kind of early sometimes is like, I don't want to risk injury. Don't want to risk injury. If I get hurt, my career is done. I want to go to the NFL early. However, $1 million sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like a lot of money, but if you still get injured and you only got $1 million, like, because the players that get $1 million, these are the guys that are first round picks. Okay. This isn't Nate McCrary at Saginaw Valley State getting $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's maybe getting like a $20 Starbucks card. It's like probably about it. Like, they're not giving out money to the lower end prospects. They give it out to the top tier guys. So they know at least I get $1 million to tie me over until I get to the NFL, but they're going because the NFL will give you $15 million bonus, which still, yes, that's a lot of money. You can definitely make that work for the rest of your life. If you do get injured, you can't play football again. Mm-hmm. However, $1 million, is not worth risking your career over when you would get. And if you're that level of player, you'd be getting $5-10 million anyway. So I don't think it'll really affect how long they'll stay in college. I think it'll just affect like what college people go to.
Yeah, it definitely won't hurt them as far as, you know, the NFL. A lot of these guys that they come from their backgrounds, you know, they look at some of these endorsement deals as, you know, hey, you know, this is a little bit for me. Let me take care of who I can take. Let me take care of my family, or whoever else been helping me out. You know, versus the money under the table, the dirty laundry schemes, and anything coming out the woodwork, stuff like that. You know, you don't have to worry about the NCAA kicking someone out, kicking someone off the team because, you know, their coach helped them with housing, knowing that they couldn't afford housing, but, you know, they had a scholarship. So it's great that they're now getting these endorsement deals, being able to, you know, breathe a little bit. They can focus a little more on eating, preparing their bodies, and studying and stuff like that. But I definitely don't feel like this is going to hurt the NFL more because, yes, you know, like in the chats and even like we done said, you make more money. You get bigger endorsement deals when you make yourself a household name and continue to play at that level of high. So
yeah, I see in Gravenvids what's going on in Gravenvids says it's a lot of money to us.
Yes, though. It is
a lot of money for us, but we didn't spend 15 years in the gym grinding to be college football players to then go pro. I see. Shamil says, don't poop on Saginaw Valley State. I'm actually committed there to follow Nate McCrary. You know what, Shamil? If you're following Nate McCrary, I was actually watching some Jalen Moore film. I believe he played against Saginaw Valley State in college. I believe he and McCrary went against each other at some point. I believe. The overall thing is very difficult to tell because the cameras are on the, like, there's not over top cameras. You're sitting at the back of the end zone cameras. And I'm like, It's a red jersey. I think it says CAR in the end zone. I'm like, I know Saginaw Valley State, the Cardinals. Steven, thank you so much for the super chat. He asks, how many roster spots do you think are decided on this game? There's a fair amount. There's definitely a good amount. I think we brought it up, the safety spot. So yep. I think safety 3 and 4. So between basically Geno Stone and Ardarius Washington, and then will both of them make it? So I think that's 2 spots that are really fighting for, like, whether or not we keep them. Running back 3, if we keep 4 running backs, is also something to look at. I don't know. Do you think wide receiver's a spot to look at all, Joshua? Because Miles Boykin isn't playing. Like, can Jalen Moore, like, if Jalen Moore really plays well, if Victor plays well, can they maybe steal? Because I feel like Jalen Moore has a chance.
Jalen Moore has been showing a lot of promise in game 1. I definitely feel like that could be a possibility. I know we've talked about it, making Miles Boykin a flex tight end and stuff like that. And, you know, I know everybody's like, oh, he's a good blocker and things of that nature. But, you know, with the overcrowded wide receiver room and all the injuries, I feel like some of these guys have taken this chance to show that they really can be out there and play. I think Miles may get cut. So I can see Jalen Moore making the team.
I think Miles and Justice Hill are kind of in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Both of them have just not been able to really play in the preseason. And they're not really practicing. They were already kind of back-end roster spots possibly. And it's like, if one of those guys balls out, you know, we talk about Tyson Williams, Nate McCrary, we talk about the receivers. If one of them's able to take that spot, it's a possibility. So,
yeah,
you know, those guys there. Then of course, the cornerback spot, I think Nigel Warrior versus Chris Westry is an interesting one.
I think Chris Westry is going to win that hands down for the simple fact we don't know how much longer we have in Jimmy Smith. You know, I mean, we love our big body corners. You know, Jimmy Smith is inconsistent with his health. But, you know, Chris Westry, I'm not going to say he's the next Jimmy Smith, but the dude shows he can actually compete.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any other spots? Maybe the third linebacker spot is something to look at.
I think we're gonna move Anthony Levine to that third inside linebacker spot. And we're gonna keep that secondary is going to be an overcrowded room, and I feel like we're going to keep a lot between safety and corner. So I feel like if we actually move Anthony Levine to inside linebacker on the depth chart, that might just help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely something to look at because then we could have like other players at safety. Because when Anthony Levine comes in, he's in the box. I don't know how many times I've ever seen Anthony Levine come in.
He's a big body, and
I want to say he used to be He used to be an outside linebacker that they transitioned to rostering him as a safety, but he was an outside. I think he was a left outside linebacker at one point.
It would make sense then.
And then he switched. But I see Engraven Vid says, I think Justice Hill goes to IR for sure. Miles may be headed there too. I think that's a pretty good estimation. I also see Baltimore Zone saying, what's your lunch week mutt team looking like? I'm an 85 overall Ravens theme team. Hey, if you're playing on PlayStation, hit me up. We got to play some squads. I'm an 85 overall as well. No theme team. I'm no money spent, so I've been grinding. But I got around 250K coins, so I'm going to be looking at some other stuff right there. I love me some mutt.
I know. Oh, first of all, shout out to the 82 guys in the stream. We love y'all, man. Y'all the ones that keep us going, and I definitely love what y'all doing. Y'all get asking us a lot of questions, but I know someone has asked us, do we bring back MP the Juice Man next year? And honestly, I feel like we do. What do you think?
I think we do. I don't think we should.
Ooh.
I was thinking about making a video on this. I'll talk about it right now. Video may come eventually.
Okay.
But I don't know. I love Marcus Peters. I think Marcus Peters is a really good player. However, I think one of the issues is I don't know how well he fits with our scheme. I think he's too risky for the Ravens scheme because we blitz so heavily and it's so many one-on-one situations. How many times do you watch 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15? Ravens send all-out pressure because that's what Wink does. And Marcus Peters is 15 yards away from a guy running a crosser over the middle that just gets it easily. It happens so often. It happened like 3 times in the first drive against the Saints. It was literally just like, oh, Marcus Peters was in the area. But that's just who he is. I think he works better in a system that is playing more conservative in the front, so it's a little bit longer to wait. But at the same time, he's a game changer and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm really torn on it. I'm really torn because Shamil says it happens against the Chiefs. It does. Yeah. With the other guys that the Ravens have, they try and stay close. Like when Anthony Averett gets beat, yes, he gets beat a fair amount, but at the same time, he's at least close. Like it's harder to recognize. So I don't know. I'm really torn on him. If we could get him for really cheap, I think it would be kind of smart, but I think that we need to look at I think right now if I was looking at the Ravens and who they should draft next year, I think corner is what we do. I think that may be our first pick is corner. The Ravens
so add early on the defense is what
add corner because I feel like that, in terms of holes on the roster, if Averett's able to take that step up and if we can get a really good corner as well, I feel like that would be really good. But I don't know. Marcus Peters is interesting.
He is a wild card. No, for sure.
Hey, shout out to everybody. We hit 100. I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've ever hit 100 during a stream. So shout out to all of you guys joining the pregame stream.
Man. Smash that like button, man.
Oh, man.
But you know what? YPC said it best. He said it best. He definitely is more of his own corner. That's why he's always looking at his safety for hey, where's the help? Honestly, he's such a gamble. I hear what you're saying, but when he hits it, he hits it. When he comes through, he definitely comes through. It's like, as a defense, do you mind taking that chink in your armor? As you have to really ask yourself that question: do you mind that chink in your armor? Do you mind that gamble? Do you mind it falling a piece once or twice, for a huge game? So that's something you really got to ask yourself.
So I see this, and it's from Ray Curtis. It says we need Peters to be who he is. He is our only playmaker on defense. In terms of interceptions, I feel like that's kind of true, but Marlon's out there forcing fumbles. But it comes down to, do you want to have a defense like Wink Martindale, or do you want to have a defense like Wink? Dean Pease. If anybody remembers Dean Pease, Dean Pease, I believe he's in Atlanta now. Shout out to Dean Pease. He's amazing. But when the Ravens played under Dean Pease, the Ravens were not getting interceptions. This was the Eric Weddle Dean Pease defense. We weren't out there getting interceptions. We weren't out there getting a ton of sacks. You know what happened? 1st and 10. Out route. Batted away. 2nd and 10. Run up the middle. 3 yards. 3rd and 7. Batted away another. Just good coverage. That was the defense. They allowed very few yards, didn't force much turnovers, but the defense still worked very, very well. Whereas it's very different from Wake Martindale, where it's like the Ravens is a bend, don't break defense. They will give up yards. Someone will get because Marcus Peters is out there, he'll give up plays, but then the Ravens will come out and be like, oh, look at the Saints game. They went in there, they drive down, fumble in the red zone. They drive down, interception in the red zone. Mm-hmm. They drive down, get a couple big plays, interception again. Very different styles of defense. Do you want to go for the consistency or do you want the momentum changing type defense? In terms of the way that the Ravens play, I feel like the consistent style of defense may be the better way to play it, just because of how we can run because we can go out there and chew clock. We can go out there like you're playing Madden and be like, let's play 2 quarters. Like I'm getting 2 drives this entire game. I can go out there, run the ball for 4 yards a pop, win this game, stay on schedule the entire time. But at the same time, when it comes down to it and you're losing, you're like, we need a big play. We need to spark this team. Wink Martindale's always got something that's bringing some spark. Always bringing something that's bringing that spark. Marlon comes out there, punch out. Send the house on 3rd and 8 when they're in field goal range and it knocks them out of field goal range. Yeah. Or they throw it deep and they score a 40-yard touchdown. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know which one I prefer. I think the Ravens defense right now is suited better to be the Wink Martindale defense, which makes sense. That's how he's built the team.
Come on, man. Chain gang. Already know how we come into Baltimore.
Yeah, baby. It's much more swagger and everything rather than the.
We out there we playing like the U in the 80s right now.
Oh, yeah. I also see, shout out to Ashley, says she's from the UK. Hey. I saw somebody earlier. I want to say, I've seen a couple different countries pop up. Shout out to everybody. UK tuning in internationally.
Man, I know they be waking up crazy to watch the games.
Yeah, it's a 10-hour difference from here to from where I am. I think it's definitely different on the East Coast. So it's right now it's about midnight or a little after midnight in the UK, I want to say. So I see Shamil. Shamil says Wink don't wear that 1999 carat chain. That's 24 carats right there, boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are ready. Come on now.
Oh man. Abdi Peters does want to stay in Baltimore. If you guys saw also we got like 130 people in here. What's going on right now? Shout out to everybody in here.
I love it, man. Come on, man.
Y'all should make sure to come back after the game's over. We'll be going back once that starts. But like Peters in the Ravens Wired Part 2, I think it was called, or maybe it was Week 2. I can't remember. He talked about how like he's refound his love for the game in here, and all that stuff. So Peters likes Baltimore. I think he maybe take a pay cut, but I don't know. It's very interesting. Ashley says it's 11.
Really going hard for no money if we win a championship. Well, I keep saying if. When. Let me be more positive with the affirmations. And let me be more firm with it. When we win this championship.
Yes. When. I see Jake Klein says, football team fans, is Gibson really going to be in this CMC role? I took Gibson in the second round of fantasy and banking on him with Jonathan Taylor, my 1-2 punch. Based on everything that I've seen, I do think that he's going to be in the CMC role. However, he's not as good as CMC, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult. But, Ron Rivera was the head coach in 2019 of Christian McCaffrey when he had the 1,000 season. Antonio Gibson has shown he can catch the ball. It's not as good in terms of catching the ball, but I really like Gibson in fantasy, especially, second round guy. I really like it. Jonathan Taylor, if you're not in a PPR league, I think Jonathan Taylor's decent. If you're in PPR, it's a bit tough, but Gibson, I definitely think that that's something that you should be happy with, getting him in the second round. I like him.
What you think about what Schoolton 82 just said?
If we had a rangy safety, we wouldn't be worried about Marcus Peters as much. Hump needs to step up his interception game, and Marcus Peters can help with that. I don't think Humphrey needs to step up his interception game. He plays corner differently, and he plays corner in the conservative style. He's going to knock that ball out, make sure they don't get that reception, because I do not ever want to see Marlon Humphrey go up for a jump ball and afterwards say,
I'm low-key scared to see him play the ball versus the wide receiver. I actually like seeing Marlon play the wide receiver. He's more physical.
Yeah, it just shows the physicality, because when Marcus Peters goes up and Deebo Samuel mosses you and afterwards you're like, I turned the wrong way. That's why you don't look back. That's why you get that arm in there. You pull that football out. But honestly, Jake Lyon's like, I didn't realize this was a Ravens chat room. Appreciate it anyway. Nah, all people are welcome. You got any questions about Washington football team? I know a lot about the Washington football team. If you're trying to ask me, trust me, I love a lot of their players that they drafted. I scouted them a lot. Benjamin St. Juste, Shaka Toney, De'Ami Brown. Loved all of those picks for them. Very solid players.
Shout out to the young boy Jared Patterson, man. He's a DMV boy. I know he's going to be playing today. I hope we don't bang him up too much, but hey, I definitely wanted him to be. I definitely wanted him to be our third running back. That was Mr. How many touchdowns at University of Buffalo in one game?
6. Mr. 6 touchdowns.
Yeah. Come on now.
YPC, I'm sorry. Nobody is on the Night Train lane type physical corner. There's never been a corner as physical as Night Train. I don't know if there's ever been a football player as physical as Night Train lane. That dude went out there to.
You don't think Eric Berry wasn't as physical?
Nope. Not even close.
Brian Dawkins?
Nope. Not even close. Nobody compares to Night Train lane. He went out there to ruin your life. He wanted to give you brain damage. He was out there punching people in the helmet. And they were like, what the heck? You can't do that. And then he was out there clotheslining people's necks to grab them by the neck, to sumo-plex them down. And then he was going out there and he was, just out there to absolutely ruin people. And, the issue is Ingraven brings up Sean Taylor, one of the heaviest hitters. However, Night Train was the dude that was just inventing new ways to try and basically almost kill somebody.
You see, he's talking. I feel like it's some guys that's right at the Night Train. But you hear McConnell. This is his take on it.
I'm all in on Night Train. I think Night Train is one of the most underrated players in the history of football. That guy just literally went out there to ruin people.
And he let you actually play football too. Remember that now.
Now I see Shulden says Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott is one of the most badass players to ever play football. I don't know if he was at. Oh no, I see some Night Train lane slander. Okay. 9-game season, 13 interceptions as a rookie. Come on, man. It's crazy. Oh no, the chat's going wild.
Yeah, you just started. You didn't got him raved. Definitely. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that for sure.
Sean Taylor was so good. Man. Sean Taylor. Oh man, that dude would have been so amazing. Oh man, rest in peace, Sean Taylor, because he would have got out there. I mean, anybody that lights someone up in a Pro Bowl game is somebody that I'm a fan of.
And we got even though this is Ravens preseason streaming, we got to get some respect when this dude Troy Polamalu, he was out there doing his thing too.
Whoa. Oh, wait, hold on. At first, I thought Shamil was saying Troy P's better than Ed Reed. They're very different players. Very different players. I would say Ed Reed is better. However, Ed Reed is the best at what he ever did.
Yeah.
Troy Polamalu is probably the best at what he ever did. Ed was probably more impactful, but they're very, very, very good.
Troy was an enforcer on the safety side. Ed Reed, he played chess while these quarterbacks played checkers. He knew how to scheme up an interception. He was truly a playmaker.
Johnny Williams says Atwater or Night Train wasn't hitting with Atwater and Taylor. Yeah, because he wasn't having to drop the shoulder. He was going out. He literally attempted. His tackle form became grab them by the neck and pull them down. That was how he, in interviews, that's what he said. He was like, they took out hitting him in the helmet because Deacon Jones went out there and literally helmet slapped and head slapped at the start of the play to intentionally try and knock the offensive lineman out and daze them. And then Night Train Land was like, oh, they took that out of the game. So I just started going, okay, just grab him by the neck and yank him down. Could you imagine if somebody in the NFL today was like, my whole plan is to grab them by the neck and pull them down? Like, they don't say that. Like, honestly, the entire thing.
I just want to hear the conversations that goes on between the lines. You know, like how Hard Knocks had D'Angelo Hall and D-Hops. Like, I just want to hear those conversations. Like, I would love to hear, like, not Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice. I mean, not Jerry Rice. Deion Sanders had those in between the line conversations. Like, I wanted to know what was going on between Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan when they broke into the fight. Like, what was they saying to each other before they hiked the ball? Like, I just want to know.
Yeah, I mean, Dick Butkus, another great guy. Man, Bears got so many linebackers.
Yeah.
Another great guy, but yeah. All right, game starts in a few minutes. Vontaze perfect. Anybody?
I'll give it to him.
If you get laid out by a wide receiver named Juju Smith-Schuster, that's a TikTok dancer. I can't tell you.
One time compared to how many times he done knock dudes out for a living. I mean, Juju, he can get that one.
Steve Atwater was pretty physical. I mean, he was the only guy to ever just ruin the Nigerian nightmare in the hole. So, I mean, that's true. I know a lot of people are talking about Weapon X. Brian Dawkins, very, very good. Sorry. I'm sorry. But I feel like we can answer maybe one or two more questions before the game, and then we'll come back after the game, continue the stream. So if anybody's interested hearing the analysis and stuff, we'll have more fun after there. There's a chance that we get who are the guys that were showing up? What are their names? Romanowski. Romanowski's up there. That's a good one. Mr. Voss says, you guys live streaming the game. We will not be streaming once the game starts. We watch the games by ourselves, and then we start streaming after the game ends. So, yeah, we ain't trying to get in them copyright situations. Not trying to get the channel taken down.
Not at all.
William Perry, the fridge. William Perry was just a solid football player. He was also a solid dude. That man was built.
Not too many dudes were trying to tackle him for sure.
Yeah. Chris Reed asks, how do you feel about the stockpile of pick trade or not, or just getting as much picks as possible? I think it's get as much picks as possible because Lamar's going to get that extension, and we need cheap players. Cheap players are on rookie deals. Those are when you get the cheap players. Get them as a rookie. We got a ton of them. A ton.
I couldn't agree with it more because for the simple fact, yes, we're going to definitely play Lamar. On top of that, if you get those rookies on those cheap deals, you get more hungrier players. Honestly, from special teams, defense, even to the offensive side of the ball, we are for these past couple drafts, you have seen almost everybody from each group contribute in a way that's helped that team in a great way. So I definitely agree on getting more draft picks and adding.
Steven says, if you could add one player to the Rams to guarantee a Super Bowl, who would it be? Kyle Shanahan. Boom. Super Bowl. Instant Super Bowl victory. I'm not even adding a player.
Damn, I love that. I love it. I can't even mad at that.
I'm putting him there. Sorry, Harbaugh. Sorry, G-Ro. Kyle Shanahan's calling our plays. He's getting everybody open, and we're going to dominate.
Let's work. Let's work.
That's what I would go with. I don't know for a player, though. Probably Ed. Ed Reed would be my answer. Ed Reed or Prime T Sizzle.
Yeah, I trust our secondary enough to hold it on, but definitely T Sizzle.
No. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the stream. We're going to go watch the game. After the game, make sure to come back. Have a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I believe we're going to do our 53-man roster prediction is kind of the plan that we've set out so far. So we'll definitely be talking about that stuff, roster battles, analyzing everything. But thank you, everybody, for coming in. We'll see all of you again after the game. Let's go win it.